and welcome to another episode of Bullshit. I'm your host, Ty Ways, with my co-host, Barney. Last week, we discussed why the phrase short kings is an oxymoron. This week, we're going to talk about the Paleolithic era.
Of course. Natural progressions.
Well, we're just going forward in time. Yeah. As we know, the Paleolithic era was back when dinosaurs were around. Everything lived in the water, but that included dinosaurs at the time. So,
Could I get a
T-Rexes they could
etymological breakdown of the word Paleolithic, please?
Well, pale, light, lithic. I actually have no idea. I don't know what either of them means.
So it has nothing. Well, for real background information,
there's no. This is real background. I'm giving
paleo
you paleo,
meaning the older, and then lithic as in Stone Age.
Yes,
so
exactly.
The old Stone Age, as in the period before humans invented agricultural tools.
No, wrong. It is the time before the Stone Age. It's an old Stone Age because dinosaurs could use stone tools. So could the people that were around back then, like Snoop Dogg or the Queen of England. But, there weren't a lot of people around back then. There wasn't really...
Would they say yabba dabba doo?
No, of course not. Why would they do... The Flintstones is grossly inaccurate.
It's grossly inaccurate?
Yeah, it's grossly inaccurate.
You take great offense at inaccurate information, I can tell.
I mean, the closest thing we've gotten to accurate representation of the Paleolithic era is the Good Dinosaur, but that takes place solely in New Jersey and isn't representative of everywhere else because New Jersey is a black hole. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not real. Well, black holes are real, but New Jersey isn't real. It's just a black hole.
It's like the back rooms.
It's basically, yeah. In order to get to New Jersey, you have to glitch out of reality. Mm-hmm. But it was much easier to do that because Paleolithic era was underdeveloped, honestly.
Yeah, they didn't have enough code in the Paleolithic era.
Facts, exactly. I talked to God about that at the time, and they were just
you could just backwards long jump straight through New Jersey at that point. It was kind of crazy.
Well, through into New Jersey. New Jersey's a black hole. Once you're there, you don't leave.
Well, you gotta align the multiple dimensions and all.
Yeah. Well, as we know, Paleolithic era was dinosaurs, which is actually, again, everything was underwater back then. Nothing had come on land yet because there wasn't really anything here on the land.
So dinosaurs didn't exist on land?
They existed on land in New Jersey, but that's because, it's New Jersey. Mm. But outside of that, they didn't really exist at all. So, they existed underwater in their own things.
So, SpongeBob?
No, of course not.
Of course not SpongeBob. Just struggling to get an image here.
Well, okay, so basically, you're going to have to imagine the land, but wet. And so basically, the dinosaurs, they were even not trees, like we have them now. They actually didn't have bark. They had bark-ish, but because underwater they floated, right? And so they were rooted in the ground. And so they didn't actually need that firm building material so that they could stick up. They would just stick up because they were floating in the water. So you had a long brown trunk, but it wasn't made up of the same stuff that tree trunks are made up of now because they didn't have that need for that rigid structure.
So kelp?
Yes, exactly big kelp.
Big kelp.
Big kelp.
Big kelp guy over here.
Yeah. Well, big kelp. See, there's a common misconception actually about dinosaurs because they're the ones with the long necks, and people will be like, oh, they evolved like that specifically so that they could reach stuff high in the trees. But there was a lot of kelp on the ground and stuff too. So really, the reason that they were that big is because they were whales. Whales. Very similar. They actually needed to breathe above water because the ocean was so deep. They just needed to be big enough so that they could poke their heads above the water and then bend it down the rest of the time.
So every dinosaur had a really long neck.
No, only the ones with really long necks.
Name one dinosaur with a really long neck.
No, wait. Long necks from the Land Before Time. Actually, a direct Land Before Time was a documentary made back then.
Was it made before time?
No.
Was it made underwater?
No. Well, yes. Wait, sorry. It was made underwater. I misheard
before
the
time?
question. No, it wasn't made before time. It was just made underwater, of course. So as previously established, everything was underwater back then. So I know what you're thinking. I hear you, but it rains in land before time. It doesn't actually. That's air.
It airs.
Yeah, it airs.
Can you explain the reverse water cycle for me then, please?
There's no reverse water cycle.
Well, then how does it air?
What do you mean? Air just gets sucked down. They just happen to be in a really bad spot.
In perfectly raindrop-like structures?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and this oxygen does not diffuse into the water like all of the oxygen does during the modern era?
The oxygen does.
What doesn't?
The rest of the air that's not oxygen. The other 75% or whatever
Such
it is.
as nitrogen, which also gets dissolved in the water?
It doesn't get dissolved in the water.
In the modern era, nitrogen does not dissolve into water.
It's called H2O. Only hydrogen and 2 oxygens are in the water. There's no more, no less.
Oh my goodness, Ty.
2 singular oxygen.
I believe chemistry would be a good destination to.
Well, now that we're talking about chemistry, we all know the world's greatest chemist was A.T. Rex, and he invented chemistry back in the Paleolithic era. In the year it was like what was it? It was like 4,500.
I think it was 2
BC, so before BC, and so this T-Rex in 2 is way too. That's too modern. What do you mean 2?
I did not give units. It's simply 2.
It's too modern no matter what. The dinosaurs had already been wiped out by 2. Any of the 2s.
What about 2 years before what you were talking about?
They were dead.
What about 2 years after what you were talking about?
They were also dead.
So there's only a 4-year period in which
we've already established that ghosts are real.
What about
the dinosaurs were ghosts? They were ghosts, so they weren't like real. They were dead.
So they were underwater dinosaur ghosts, except for this 4-year period.
Yes.
Did they? How do we have fossils?
What do you mean?
How do fossils exist?
Fossils are just a cosmic joke that what are they called? Paleontologists haven't understood yet.
What's the punchline?
Well, I can't tell you. That would ruin the joke. Speaking of jokes, did you look in the mirror this morning?
No.
Disappointing.
Yep.
So any other questions that you don't understand about the Paleolithic era?
Do you have anything else to go on? Any more details here?
Oh, well, of course. As we know, the dinosaur society was very, modern, but not modern because they started it first. But it took humans a while to discover it because when the dinosaurs were wiped out, so was most of their history. So including all of their bones and everything. Like I said, fossils are just a joke. They're based on like the real life dinosaurs that did exist, of course, but they're not like the dinosaurs never got fossilized because every single part of them was atomized immediately. They all died. But dinosaurs were a democratic society, but it was a pure democracy. It wasn't representative democracy. Now I know what you're thinking. What about, that's too big. There were so many dinosaurs. And you're kind of right. But basically the way it worked was kind of just like a Minecraft server with a no griefing rule, right? Where if you messed with somebody else's stuff, there were still police and stuff and they could arrest you. But then it was kind of like whoever showed up to your court case, there was a vote about what could happen. And so lawyers back then were more so, still similar to trying to convince the jury that you're not guilty. But, basically, anyone could talk at these court trials. So lawyers would not only have to be large, but have to be loud. That's why the long necks were some of the most common lawyers, because they were very big and they were very loud. Because they had giant vocal cords, of course, because, long neck, long vocal cords.
Well known for being aggressive and loud.
Yeah, well...
Not herbivores or peaceful.
Well, they were herbivores, but they were still aggressive. There's, Yeah. So oftentimes what they would do is they would have, I say businesses, but money didn't exist back then. They were very close kind of to communism, but not communism. like everyone did. It was more like like trade-based society. You know, there was no money or anything, and you know, you could kind of own property, but it was more like you just kind of settled in a spot and said, "This is mine," and then everyone else would kind of respect you, as opposed to like legally it being yours.
What if I didn't respect them?
Well, then you know you would go to trial.
What if I didn't go to trial?
You would be killed.
What if I simply wasn't killed?
Well, it wouldn't work. You know, you would have been. You would have been. I couldn't have been killed. I actually did steal several dinosaurs' property back in the day.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was, you know, it was less like a actual. If they couldn't kill you, you would. So they didn't really have anything to do with you. The phrase outlaw comes from back then. You know, because how an outlaw used to be someone who was outside of the law. That word was invented specifically for a specific branch of dinosaur, who it mostly consisted of T-Rexes, but it's not really because T-Rexes are inherently bad or anything. It was just like, not even a lot of, it was just a vocal minority of T-Rexes were very opposed to the governmental system. Best phrase I have for it. And so a lot of them would go.
Would they wear any sort of notable attire?
No, they were dinosaurs. They were naked.
Okay.
Yeah. Were you imagining dinosaurs in clothes?
My heart's broken a little bit here.
That's on you for mentioning dinosaurs with toes. There are, well, toes, clothes. They didn't have toes either.
Speaking of...
No. I will turn on... Say it now. Yeah. That's what I thought. Don't you do it. Don't you dare do it. Stop.
Perhaps less profanity on the air.
Okay, I apologize.
Okay.
No. Yeah. If anyone wants to call in, feel free. The number is 610-409-3777. So if anyone feels the need to call in, you know.
Once again, the number is 911.
That's not the number. That's not, don't know. If you call 911, the ghost cops will come and they make you into a ghost.
Oh, are the cops also ghosts?
Yeah, of course. All cops are ghosts. Have you never met a ghost before?
Can't say I have. Unless you're a ghost.
No, I'm just immortal. Yeah, like Snoop Dogg.
Of course.
Snoop Dogg was surprisingly popular among the dinosaurs. Like, I know you'd think that, like, he would be very like, you would think Snoop Dogg would become an outlaw, but he actually wasn't. He wasn't, like, pro-law.
Yeah, the Triceratops be crippin'.
Exactly.
It's well known.
Yeah.
Why else would they just be out there crippin'?
Yeah, exactly. See, you get it.
Yeah.
Most dinosaurs were blue, and anyone who tells you otherwise is wrong.
So when were the Bloods invented in that case? If we had a wide prevalence of crypt dinosaurs.
Well, you see, there wasn't such a thing as like blood or crypts back during the dinosaurs. It basically started after they all got wiped out, and there were still a couple of, you know, humans and other things left behind that weren't atomized like all the dinosaurs were, including myself. And so there was a rise of like just a lot of red fish, and Snoop Dogg just hated them with a passion. And so he started the group to represent his old dinosaur friends of the Crips, you know. And so that's kind of the origin story of like other people were kind of like, oh, I don't know if I like this guy so much. And so they kind of invented this other group.
Was there any sort of main figurehead that began what we now know as the Bloods?
No.
It was.
However, if we're talking about figureheads, Huey P. Newton, the founder of the Black Panthers, is actually a pretty cool guy, and I'd suggest anyone who is interested in the history of the Black Panthers or anything Black History Month related, look him up. Just, you know, all around pretty cool guy. Did a lot of cool stuff. I think the U.S. government might have declared him a terrorist at some point, but it was basically just because he was black.
Essentially.
Yeah. Speaking of black, as we know, the bottom of the ocean doesn't have any light, and so that's why, like, you know how fossils don't have eyes? That's why. Because no dinosaurs could see. A lot of them were very similar to Daredevil, actually. They had like that psychic sense.
So we had Crip and Daredevil running around in many different shapes and sizes. All at the same time.
I suppose.
In Bikini Bottom.
No. Bikini Bottom is grossly disrespectful. Again, the phone number is 610-409-3777. If anyone wants to call in.
I feel as if somebody is trying at some point to call.
I disagree.
I don't know.
No. But as we know, dinosaurs didn't have eyes. They could kind of like psychically sense stuff around them. And so that's a lot of things come from that. You know, like dinosaurs were a much closer knit community because, like psychics, they could just kind of feel. They were all empath. They could feel stuff, you know, that other dinosaurs were feeling.
They could sense when the other was angry because they would be an empath and make a TikTok about how they sensed that their friend was
exactly upset. Though. Like the empath jokes on TikToks pretty much solely originate from the ghosts of dinosaurs.
The ghost of dinosaurs past?
Yes.
Seems we have a caller, folks.
Hello. I have no idea. Let me check.
We do have a caller right now.
You gotta give me a second. I need to see if the phone comes through on the thing, because I don't think anyone else has ever used the phone before. No, you're not live on air. All right, I don't know if the phone
seems like the phone is not going through at the current moment.
You're not live on air, Seth. Oh, wait.
Hold for a little bit. We may have solved the problem.
About
folks.
the what? Wait, can you give me 1 second just to make sure that this is actually live on air, and then I'll answer your question.
Seems that the problem was not solved.
Okay, it seems so I don't think you guys are live on it. This is so sad.
We'll gladly answer any questions, even
so
though.
just ask the question, and I'll relay the question live.
Lovely.
Just ask the question, and I'll have to just say it out loud because I don't know how to. I don't think the phone's connected. No, I'm pretty sure it's just like I don't know how to operate the phone. Like I just don't think it's functioning. I don't think it's connected to the soundboard.
Technological difficulties. Please stand by.
Yeah, no, it's not connected to anything outside of the wall. So you can call in. Yeah, I'll put you up to the mic.
What are your thoughts on the Israeli-Palestinian crisis?
I think I heard that one.
Yeah, so he's asking, what are our thoughts on the Israeli-Palestinian crisis?
I'll let you field that one first, Ty, because I feel like you'll have a very interesting answer.
Personally, I think that we should get rid of religion. I fully believe this crisis could be solved if people didn't believe that it was religious land that was stolen. In fact, we simply just abolish the two countries and combine them into one. And then we make everybody hug each other, like hug it out.
Do you smell that, Ty? That smells like a centrist point of view.
I have no idea.
As for the correct point of view, in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is quite simple. Free Palestine. Israel is not a true state. We stan Palestine.
I'm gonna be honest.
Over and out.
don't know anything about the Israel. All I know is it's like Jewish people versus like Muslims? Question mark. That's all I've heard about it vaguely, and I don't even know if that's
Those
true
are
or
the
not.
two representative religions.
They are.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. In that case,
Don't.
all religions are wrong.
Phrasing there was quite perilous.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, they're both wrong. The only real religion is mine, which is me. I am a god and should be worshipped.
Naturally.
Yeah. So you believe in free power? Why do you believe that? Would you like to elaborate?
Oh, certainly. Well, sorry, there's just an alarm going off that is a little bit distracting.
It's not distracting if you're not weak.
Meanwhile, so in terms of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it's quite the complex issue, so I won't pretend as if I can either speak on all of the issues represented, nor that I can do the issue justice in the few seconds I will talk about it. But simply from a perspective of both the history and the legacy of colonialism within the Middle East, as well as the less than savory actions and policy making of Zionists within Israel. Although many will try to make a straw man argument claiming that any disruption of the nation of Israel would be considered anti-Semitism. Such things are not necessarily true, nor are they true in my case. I believe instead that the establishment of Israel was not the place of Europe to choose, and therefore any legacy that has come thereafter by default is part of a long-standing tension that need not be there. And those oversimplification is to simply say that one nation's be wiped off the face of the earth. If I were to make such a gross simplification, it would be to free Palestine. And that's my logic behind that one.
Yeah, as we all know, after World War One or Two, the Middle East was just fucked. You know what I mean?
Elaborate.
Well, I don't remember which war it was, but it was basically like the Allies in quotes, and then also I think Germany, maybe not Germany though, I'm not 100% sure. Just kind of like we're like, yeah, this territory in the Middle East is kind of ours now, and so they took it, and then they just started messing around with it, and we're like, here, we're gonna split it up between us and then between you guys. Very similar to the Berlin Wall, like East Berlin versus West Berlin, where it was like, no, and also Korea, where it was North versus South, and it's kind of like, all right, this wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for Western intervention. Well, Western, depending on your perspective, intervention. The dinosaurs didn't appreciate it.
Of course. What was Snoop Dogg and the Crips' perspective on the partitioning of Israel and Palestine?
I don't know.
What is Snoop Dogg's thoughts on,
I don't know.
on the Gaza Strip and the
me and
mounting
Snoop stopped talking
intervention?
Back way back when, you know.
Oh, that's sad.
A couple hundred years ago.
Was there any reason?
No reason particularly. You know, he was just on a different continent than I was, and even though we're both in America now, it's just, you know,
I get that.
Harder to reach out nowadays to old friends without exposing their immortality. You know,
True that.
Publicly, of course. Yeah. So back on the Paleolithic era, which I was describing in great detail, I think.
Great detail.
Again, dinosaurs don't have eyes.
Don't have
as we
eyeballs.
know. That's
Do
why
they
their
have-
fossils don't have eyes.
Do they have noses?
Noses, of course.
Ears?
Yes.
Mouths?
Some.
Heads?
Most of them.
Shoulders?
No.
Knees?
No.
Toes?
No.
Heads?
Yes.
Shoulders?
No.
Knees?
They only had heads.
And toes?
Well, they had bodies too, but they didn't have shoulders.
Eyes?
No.
And ears?
Yes.
And mouth?
Can you
And
not?
nose? Head, shoulders, knees and toes? Knees and toes?
Well, the toe thing is debatable because it depends on what you consider a toe. Because most of them had round little stump legs.
Would they be able to compete in the competition known as toesies?
I do not believe so.
Okay. That's all that's needed to be known.
Yeah. So. But We talked Paleolithic era.
Our Bikini Bottom
No,
kelp-based
again,
society.
Bikini Bottom is not based in reality.
I would beg to differ.
No, there's a rumor going around that Bikini Bottom, like from SpongeBob, is based off of the nukes dropped in Bikini Atoll. But that's wrong. The nukes dropped in the Bikini Atoll only created Godzilla, and he destroyed everything else that was like down there in the ocean. So there wasn't really any chance for a Bikini Bottom unless it was there in the 5 seconds between Godzilla's birth and then his destruction subsequently of the complete underwater area.
I believe we're ignoring the possibility of it being a ghost society.
It's not. No, it's not. I know every ghost society. It's not a thing.
Name a ghost society.
Mexico.
I'm sorry.
There are 2 Mexicos. You know, Coco is actually a documentary film. A lot of people misinterpret it as an animation, but it's really just a live action documentary following the journey of a young boy into other Mexico. There are 2 Mexicos, one for real living people and one for ghosts.
So Mexico actually exists in a state that looks as though it were animated to our eyes.
Yes.
So if you were to cross the border into Mexico, would you?
Well, if I were to try to cross the border into Mexico, a robot dog would attack me.
But you're simply built different.
That's true. I would live, but I'm simply.
But how would you appear on that side to me?
Animated. It's the whole country of Mexico is actually also trapped in a vortex. Like how New Jersey, you have to glitch out of it. Mexico was never updated to the real life VFX engine, so the developers of Mexico had to work with a stylized approach to make it look more reasonable. So the trees and stuff wouldn't end up looking like glitchy and unanimated.
Of course.
Yeah.
So how much of the universal budget did they save by taking that stylized approach with Mexico?
About 40 trillion of the universal currency, which is a lot. The U.S. dollar is actually, it's comparable, obviously not equal to, but like in the amount of worth that humans place on the U.S. dollar, very similar to the amount of worth that is placed into one of the universal currency by the rest of the universe.
That's very convenient.
Multiversal currency. Well, art imitates life, and since we're just one big art project, we imitate real life. Well, you are.
So could you call it a coin under the multiverse?
A coin? What do you mean?
Would that just be another equally valid way of referring to this currency? A currency under the multiverse?
I don't get it.
Perhaps CUM for short?
I'm not following, but sure.
Goodness, I do love me some.
I registered. Don't you? I'll cry.
That is all.
Actually, no. Why don't you go ahead and say that? Let me just pay attention to the time here on the recording, and then you can say what you were going to say.
No need.
Yeah. I'm being asked by a fan to talk about the origins of COVID-19.
Wow.
Yeah. Which, as we know, came from a meteorite. There's like a name for it officially, but it's like numbers or whatever. I personally just call it the bitch galaxy, or solar system. Sorry, because we have our solar system, and then it's like clustered around this star, which it's somewhere. It's up there. You look up and you'll see
somewhere?
it. Yeah, like you can see it in the sky.
That's crazy.
But it's not important. It's not in any constellations or anything. But it was supposed to be a health mission. But they didn't realize that humans are so drastically different than most other species in the universe. This universe, of course. There is a multiverse, but since infinite multiverses, you can't say most of anything.
We have CUM.
Yeah,
so evidence of the multiverse.
Well, because each multiverse is kind of owned by one creator. You know what I mean? So
you own a multiverse?
No, of course not.
You're not quite that powerful.
No, I'm simply a worker right now, like a worker bee, but better, because I'm not a bee and I don't have to dance to communicate.
So that would say that you aren't simply built different?
No, I am simply built different.
Built different than what?
Than everything else ever in existence.
Including those who own the multiverse.
Yes, of course.
Does that mean you're better than them?
Of course it does.
And yet you don't own that.
I let my children roam free, and I give them free realm. I'm currently in disguise right now, on Earth. Because, not gonna lie, Earth is my favorite son's job. Well, son. I say son, but I mean like S-U-N. The word son comes from the word that we used to call all of our children, like equivalent word, basically. But because space, basically a god, we don't have any gender at all.
The etymology of S-O-N, son, and etymology of S-U-N, son are entirely different.
Wrong. That's simply incorrect. See, because you're basing all of your logic in human knowledge, which I, of course, put in air quotes, because human knowledge is simply just not real knowledge. A lot of stuff is simply jokes. In fact, the closest humans have ever gotten to anything is the invention of last Thursdayism, which is basically that everything came into effect last Thursday, which is not true. But about 90% of the things that you think you've explained are actually just jokes and or made to look explainable even though they're not. For example, fossils. You might argue, but we know fossils are old. We can do fossil dating. Okay, like literally a god made them look old. It's that simple. It's very simple. They're not actually that old. There's a reason that fossils weren't found until like 1985. No, evolution was real too. They're all real. Everything's real at the same time.
All in none?
What?
All in none?
All in none, like a hole in one in golf?
Like there's all and there's none, both at the same time.
No, there's only all.
But if there's all, how can there not be none?
Because none is the absence of all, and there is no such thing as the absence of all. It's just a theoretical word.
But then, would not all be exclusionary of the concept of none?
Yes.
Would that make it not all?
No.
What about some?
Some is just some of all.
So is some included in all?
Yeah.
Not only some of some?
Some of some is also included in all. All of all is included in all. It's like
excluding none, and there's none of none in all.
It's basically like if you have like a vacuum chamber and there's no air in there, you wouldn't say, oh, this vacuum chamber has like you would be able to say there's nothing in it, and then but what if there is a thing? That thing is nothing. No, wrong. There's nothing in it. Nothing is not itself a thing.
So you're claiming that the none pizza left beef is not really a thing?
No, none pizza left beef is really a thing.
Well, if none isn't a thing, then how could none pizza left beef be a thing? If none is...
Well, if none is the absence of something, none pizza would be the absence of pizza that only has left beef. So there is no pizza, but there is left beef.
Would the none pizza left beef be included in all?
Yes, because none has multiple definitions. So what do you mean by none?
I mean none.
There are specific nuns that you must be including.
I like Catholic nuns.
True. Those are included
Benedictine
in all.
nuns.
See, I think what I mean is that the absence of all is not included in all. However, there is the absence of some things that are included in all. For example,
absence?
What do you mean?
Is absence included in all?
Yes.
What about the absence of absence?
The absence of that? Yes, that's
what about the abstinence of abstinence?
That's not drinking to be absent. You're just describing a lot of people's fathers. I would prefer if we went off this topic. Back to COVID-19. Wow. Back to COVID-19. There's actually a theory that it was a ploy by the U.S. government. That's wrong, surprisingly. I know it's surprising, because you would think that COVID would be a ploy by the U.S. government.
Please don't become a conspiracy theorist, please.
No, COVID comes from space. The ploy, if any ploy existed, is actually mostly the Republican Party's ploy to be complete dumbasses throughout the entirety of the COVID-19 pandemic. I, of course, am talking about the American, conservative Republican Party.
The Irish Republican is.
Yeah, I don't actually know about other countries because this is the country that I've been in for about the past.
North.
50 years, right? Yeah, 50 or so years. So I really
Margaret
only know about this
Thatcher
country.
in the mud, baby.
Maggie's in the mud. Woo! What was I talking about? Oh, right, COVID. So basically, what happened is that human scientists were way smarter than I kind of thought. I was fully expecting to have to go underground again for another 100 years, but your scientists actually invented a fairly effective vaccine and a lot of effective programs to keep COVID-19 from spreading. But then also some humans are just so dumb, stupid, and idiotic that they fully believed that they did not need this stuff to survive, and/or thought they were above it, even though they're not. I am immortal, and I was not above this stuff. I still had to get all booster shot.
You heard it
double
here
vaccinated.
first, folks. God is vaccinated and boosted.
Exactly, as every human should be right now if they have the opportunity. It kind of sucks because there are things that are immunities, not immunities. People have lower immune systems, stuff like that, and can't get the vaccine because it's too chemotherapy, things like that. It's just not safe for them at the moment. And it's just becoming more and more dangerous because some people are just complete and utter idiots who don't seem to understand how to tie their own shoes, let alone comb their hair. So I am very confused as to why we give these people a platform at all, because they really shouldn't have one.
Truly.
Yeah.
If we gave people the immunity idols from the game show Survivor, would that work?
Surprisingly, no.
Oh, man. I thought I was onto something there.
Yeah. So, the idols in Survivor are not actual idols. We actually, when this universe was created, because I know a lot of people are probably out there questioning, like, oh, if there's a God, why do bad things happen? We gave the universe free will. Nothing was planned for at all. Big Bang happened, and then there was a plan for Earth because we wanted a lot of life here. And that's where dinosaurs came from. Dinosaurs were actually, the Bible is about dinosaurs. People think it's about humans. It's not. It's about dinosaurs.
What species of dinosaur was Noah?
I believe Noah was a stegosaurus.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about Adam, the first dinosaur?
Adam and Eve were both T-Rexes. I know there are some people out there who think T-Rexes aren't cool, and they're like, if you're a real dinosaur nerd, you would think other dinosaurs are cool. Wrong. T-Rexes are, in fact, still extremely cool, and anyone who thinks otherwise is wrong and dumb.
Could we get a dinosaur tier list real quick?
Dinosaur tier list really quick? Okay. S tier, T-Rexes, Stegosaurus. F tier, bottom tier, Mosasaurus, and whatever the Loch Ness Monster is, bottom tier. Lowest tier, they're fine as dinosaurs, but they should have been fish. They should have been big fish.
Where does a velociraptor fall on this for you?
C tier. No, they're smart. They were smart, but
would you call them clever girl?
No. Velociraptors didn't have genders.
Oh, they were non-binary dinosaurs? Or just
I suppose non-binary is the right word. However, they just didn't have a concept of gender. Yeah, it simply wasn't based. See, like I said, Dinosaur Society was actually
that's a great brand name.
Yes, actually it is.
Build-A-Bear? Dinosaurs?
Build-A-Bear, hit me up, bro. I have the best.
We are willing and able to do any sort of brand deal. We would love to design dinosaurs for you.
Submissive, breedable.
Those weren't words.
No, they weren't. I couldn't get it out.
It was just kind of laughing.
I wanted to say something, but
he'll take a few breaths and try it again.
No, I can't do it. Do you know what I was trying to say?
I have no idea what you were trying to say. He's indisposed at the moment, folks. Give him a few seconds.
I'll write it down because I can't say it.
He can't say it, folks, but I hope I will.
Submissive. I can't say it, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Submissive and breedable.
Yes, thank you. Oh my God, I don't know why I can't say it.
Why were you going to say that?
To Build-A-Bear Workshop.
That we are, or that they are? What in this context was submissive and breedable, Ty?
Our monetary making ideas.
The dinosaurs?
Yes, the dinosaurs are submissive and breedable.
We do not endorse any sort of attempt or imagery relating to submissive and breedability of dinosaurs, we will come after you and copyright strike you for all you are worth if you do that.
We will actually be like Disney and just have a dinosaur porn archive.
No.
Did you not? Did you know about the Disney porn archive, right?
Please.
Everybody does.
No.
It's like a real they make all the artists draw porn of characters that Disney can legally strike down anything that resembles their characters too closely, because Disney technically already owns the rights to all of their characters naked. And then they show it to new writers and artists to be like, just so you're aware, this will happen to your work. That part is actually, that's not bullshit. That's true. You can look it up. Like,
I know.
Well, I would say look up. I don't look up Disney Porn Archive, but like it's a real thing that exists.
Why?
I'm being asked by viewers to say today's Wordle
out loud to everybody.
Yeah, I don't know if that's fair.
I don't think we'll do that.
I will. I can give a hint. We have to give a hint on today's Wordle.
No, I think we should avoid that.
Yeah. Well, I can just give a hint. Yeah, we should avoid giving a hint.
You're the worst. You're the worst.
Well, no, look, I didn't register what you wanted me to do, and then I actually stuttered, and so it sounded like I was emphasizing a word, but I really wasn't. It was just a stutter.
Fourth word.
What?
Did you not watch iCarly?
I did, but I don't remember it. Like iCarly with
that was one of my favorite bits in the show. There was an episode where they get captured by an obsessive fan, and the way they have to escape.
Wait, is this the guy who kidnaps them like 50 times?
No,
like once a season.
It's the crazy girl.
Yeah,
it only captures once.
She was in Sam and Cat. Also, she captured them a couple times. I thought.
Well, this was the first time they were captured.
Or am I thinking of like Neville or Nerd or whatever his name is?
I think you're thinking of him.
Okay,
the one that says "You'll rue the day."
Yeah,
and you're a hop knocker. But this crazy girl ends up capturing them, locking them in like a recording studio in her basement, and they have to record like a celebratory message to Gibby. But it's
speaking of record, I want to mention something about recording.
It's encoded,
okay.
So that in the goofiest way
also
possible.
Speaking about encoded, this related to what I'm about to say. Continue.
No.
Okay, I'm just going to point out that Wordle is actually full of encoded messages from the government, especially today's, trying to tell you what to do if a U.S. government draft happens. The Wordles are basically telling you to do this to the draft.
Okay.
That's all. I wanted to make the world aware of that.
Cool.
Yeah, the world. The 4 people. Can I see how many people are listening? Hold up.
That would be quite interesting.
What were we talking about before this? Dinosaurs? No, we're off dinosaurs now. We're way off dinosaurs. 3 listeners. Oh my god.
Intense.
We're off. What are we on now? What should we talk about?
We're on interrupting me.
Yeah. Well, as is tradition.
As is tradition.
I thought of something, but I have to tell you later.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else you would like to,
You're the host. Pick a topic.
Well, I feel like I already established the dinosaur society pretty much. Although I guess people are probably wondering how they were all atomized. I don't know if any of you watch Young Justice, but in the most recent season, spoiler alert, the White Martians, one of the White Martians gets a bomb from Apocalypse that will kill every green Martian.
That's racist.
No, it explicitly is very racist. That's like the plot of the show. But the dinosaurs were surprisingly not racist, but there was one singular dinosaur, and his name was Chuck, and Chuck hated everybody. And so he kind of wanted to just get rid of everybody. He's one of history's worst people. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaur.
One of
but dinosaur are people and also ghosts.
He bought a
heads
bomb from Apocalypse, which is real. Not like exactly the same as in DC. There's no such thing as the anti-life equation because that's a dumb idea. But very similar ideas, ruled over by some crazy guy who calls himself Darkseid, but it's only because he thinks that he's evil and he's actually just an idiot. But the what's it called? The point here is that Chuck bought a bomb, and the bomb went off, and it atomized every single dinosaur. Like, they all just died immediately. It was a very sad event. It was a very sad event. Shame that it happened. But because there were no more dinosaurs, it did give a rise to mammals. And I don't know if you know this. Evolution is actually sight-based. So if you see something that looks cool, you evolve into it. And so, I think it was probably
evolve into Danimals then?
If you really wanted to, yes. But it was me. I think
I am now Danimals.
I think it was me and Barack Obama, actually, who were kind of just standing around in what would come to be known as Africa, and these weird like monkeys just saw us, and then come like 1,000 years later, and they look like us, like they look like people look now, which really we try to avoid the affecting the evolution process, but it didn't end up working out like that. So now humans look very similar to God, which is one of the reasons why actually the Bible is so considered to be about humans and not dinosaurs, because in the verse about humans designed to look like God, or things being designed to man being designed to look like God, which it's just a mistranslation of the word dinosaur, and dinosaurs were not designed to look like God, but when man got a hold of it and they saw this, they were kind of like, hey, wait a minute, like I've seen a God before and I look vaguely similar to that, so they thought it was about that. When in reality, the dinosaurs, their god was just a giant lizard that it kind of floats through space, like the giant space lizard. We can probably get him on the show at some point. We can get him to call in giant space lizard. But he's probably.
I'm a big fan of GSL.
Yeah, I don't know where he is right now. Actually, I haven't talked to him in a while. Last I talked to him, he was with Sagittarius A star.
Wow.
The black hole at the center of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Not that black holes are alive or anything, but he had kind of gotten his tail stuck in it, and so was trying to figure out a way to get it out.
He must be like 8 parsnips away then, at this point.
Parsnips? What's that?
The vegetable.
Oh, no.
Parsnips.
I doubt it. I imagine he's probably still stuck in the black hole.
Probably still 8 parsnips away.
When we get him on the show, we'll have to ask him about what's going on with the black hole.
Parsnips aren't that big.
That's true, but if I remember what he said correctly, his tail was like fully just in the singularity.
No,
well,
about 7 to 8 parsnips away.
No, on it, like it was touching.
Yeah.
Well,
from about 7 to 8 parsnips length.
See, because I think because people hear touching now and they'll be like, oh, nothing can ever touch anything. But
thanks to the sauce,
because of how pressurized a black hole is, it is actually touching. It's forcing his tail to touch, like all of the atoms are mushed together, which is one of the reasons why he's stuck. I told him to just cut off his tail, but he didn't want to at the time, even though it would grow back, which kind of dumb. But giant space lizard, dinosaurs worship giant space lizard. They thought giant space lizard was God, who is surprisingly not God.
Because you are God, but not God.
I am God's parent. Yes.
You're the Godfather?
I'll read that on air right now.
No.
Yeah, it's too late.
Well, we have literary moments by Tyways coming up here.
No, you know what I'm actually going to read on air? Let me...
What? Please don't. There are many bad things that you can read right now, and I would not like to hear any of them.
This is the Minecraft rap.
No.
I be playing Minecraft every night. Out here getting that netherite. Playing with the homies, we doing all right. We know how to play, mining every night. We start every game punching that wood.
Toesies.
No, I'll stop reading the Minecraft rap if you insist. But it's a very good rap written by a very talented musical artist.
Who is that musical artist?
Me.
Wow. Who could have guessed?
honestly, who could have guessed?
Me.
Did you guess though?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I do have an actual recorded version of me and my friends doing the Minecraft rap.
Is it as good as Fortnite Battle Pass?
No. No, of course not.
Oh, okay.
No. What do you mean? Is it as good? Fortnite Battle Pass is, as far as I and any other astral, I don't even remember the human word for it, but as far as I and higher being are concerned,
human word.
concerned,
I hate that.
any English word, but and me and all the other higher beings,
That's gotta be racist. That has to be racist.
me and all the other higher beings are pretty sure that Fortnite Battle Pass is peak humanity. I don't know if humanity can ever get better than that. I don't think it's possible, actually. I don't think you can. Yeah, no, it's not registering anything from you, so.
Did you just fart? Or was that a mouth fart?
Wait, could you not tell?
Not really.
That was a mouth fart. It was a raspberry.
I can smell it.
That you, what?
He's lying.
No, I'm not.
He is
Wait, could you?
He's just farted in the chamber.
I did not. You know what? I think actually I need to.
If you find my dead body poorly buried, please leave all of my belongings.
Well, as everyone
on
knows,
campus.
we are actually, there's a dead body.
Somebody
on the
please
football
take
field.
care of Buckley.
It's me or the PS5. Tell me which of us is more your type. Seems like we can't decide. So if it's not me, then I'm probably gonna run it over.
Fortnite Battle Pass. I just shit out my ass. Booted up my PC. Cause I need to get that Fortnite Battle Pass. I like Fortnite. Did I mention Fortnite? I like Fortnite. It's nighttime. I mean, it's 5 o'clock. That's basically nighttime. Now remember Cartoon Network Adventure Time.
Apologies. The studio was just invaded by peak human, creation. The, a light actually just came into the studio.
As did I. Yep. I said what I said.
A light came into the studio, got into the computer, and Fortnite Battle Pass just started playing. And it wasn't any
I may
god.
have to change my name and my pants.
What are you changing your name to?
Paul. It's the classic I've seen God and I need to change my name.
You're right. No, you're right. That's actually one of the funniest moments in history. Because just
What a bozo.
right. Well, so because basically
Why
here's
couldn't
what
you
happened.
still be soft?
We
Really just were like, hey, yo, I'm going to change my first letter of my name to a P, and now I'm going to be like a really important figure in the religion that I was just killing people in, and then pretend that I knew this guy, even though I didn't, and then pretend the apocalypse is coming in 2 weeks. Kind of weird. I'm not a big Paul fan myself.
No, Paul is actually very funny. So as we know, as established previously, a lot of the prophets were actual gods. Jesus was surprisingly one of them. Yeah. So just to finish the story, we kind of dared him to be like, go up to this random guy and just tell him to change his name, and then he did it and it worked. And it was one of the
Did you get the
funniest
video
videos.
on WorldStar?
No, phones weren't invented back then.
Ah.
Yeah, so we couldn't. Anyway, that's the time we have for today. Thank you for listening.
And remember, folks.